the way that it's going to start off is for the conference. This is all about the conference at this point in time. There'll be some minor adjustments. I do have a leader's guide for the facilitator. So after they get through the basics of what they need to know about the session, we're going to start off with CFMA presenting this game. And we're going to introduce the staff. That would include you guys because you're going to be runners and such. You'll be on the floor with us. Joe will introduce Carol and Pam and myself. And then it'll be a matter of having the tables move. So we're going to count off 1 to 10. And then everybody, all the ones go to table 1, all the 10s go to table 10, etc.
Okay.
So we need to, that's because people tend to congregate with people they know, and we want to bust them up. We want to get them.
If I can just step back, so before they come in and enter,
Mm-hmm.
there might be some associate members just trying to come in, right? Hey,
Oh.
it's the session.
We have a
A
table at the
registration
front,
table at the front.
so we're checking IDs,
Good.
so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So you're only accepting general members?
Yes, because this is all
there's a
about,
limited amount. Even.
Uh-huh.
right, and we want to teach our people.
And you
So
said Joe? Is that Joe who?
Joe, Patty.
Okay.
Okay, so, and while they're settling in, they could introduce themselves to each other, and then Joe's gonna kick it off and welcome them to the game. This is something new that we're doing. CFMA has created this learning game so that the CFMs are better equipped professionally. So we want you to have fun, but the point is also to learn while you're doing that. Going over the agenda at this point is a guideline. We have to test this out, but it looks pretty close. Welcoming and introductions, that's what we're doing now. I'm going to tell you all about the game pieces, and then and the rules and instructions, and then we're gonna get into the actual round. There's 3 rounds to the game. They'll be repeating the same cycle. You start off with selecting a strategic initiative. Then you conduct a discussion around the SWOT analysis for such a strategic initiative. Then you're going to have some action on the board relevant to the strategic initiative that you selected. And then we're gonna take a few minutes at the end to capture some of the key learnings. And so that we could share that with the entire group later on. We'll take a break. Round 2, you'll have a rhythm going. You'll pick different strategic initiatives, do the same process. Round 3, now you're warmed up, now you're ready. Now you're gonna compete this table with that table and that table. So the winner will be the one who gets the highest total enterprise value. At the end, while we're tallying up the scores, we'll be sharing learnings as a group, pointing out things that you might not have known before, and what was important that you want to share with your colleagues. And then we'll celebrate the winners. We have gifts. We have a free revenue recognition guide, not free, but a win and a revenue recognition guide, a benchmarker, and an online course. So that's 3rd, 2nd, and 1st prizes. And I'm gonna make buttons because we want them to wear these buttons throughout the weekend so that everybody knows about the CFM challenge. After that celebration, if there's a few minutes left, I will be handing out, as we collect their scores, I'll be handing out this overall evaluation about the game. This is unlike our normal evaluation for sessions. So when we're running around at each table at the end, we'll be dropping off a paper copy for each player. And this is very specific to the clarity, flow, balance, duration, integration, enjoyment, and engagement about the game. And then any comments they could make about strengths, weaknesses, things like that.
How many people do you envision being part of this?
There are
50.
50.
We already maxed it out.
We maxed
Maxed
it
it
at
out.
50.
It maxed out quickly.
So there's
It
10
doesn't
tables.
surprise me because gamification is huge right now.
Mhm.
So, do you have, let's say, 40 of them show up, what are you gonna do?
Smaller team.
Then we just have 8 tables.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling that 60 will show up.
I think I think she's right. I think she's gonna have more people.
I'll have to turn them away, or I will
Do you
set
have
them
an
up.
audience section?
I asked that too. I love that idea, but you're a little.
We could, we are going to have a wedding videographer, kind of around the place so that we could get some filming.
The coins are great.
I don't know that anyone would want to sit there for 4 hours and watch other people play. if
They
they
might wanna
really
sit there
wanted
for
to.
one round.
And that would be fine if we can do that. The other option is if need be, if you, Stuart, or Brian came to me and said, listen, this person really has to be in here,
Mhm.
Yeah.
then we'll squeeze them in and they have
I
6
don't
at
wanna
one
do-
table.
yeah.
Regional conference rep who wants to see it and maybe play it, you know, at their conference might be a good one,
Right,
you know.
right. So
Rather than participate, but,
I could make that kind of
all
allowance,
right, that's good to
but-
And
know.
there's 5 people per
Per
group.
table.
5 per table, right.
And do they each have a specific role?
They do, I'm gonna get right into that. See, this is good indication that the flow is flowing. All right, so, next, let's tell you about this game. This game is about JB Contracting Company. It's a mid-sized, family-owned general contracting firm. And, like most family-owned businesses, it gets passed down, and now you have a new boss. And this new boss, this new CEO owner, wants to improve the bottom line and is looking at you to do it. And when you do, they have promised you a great big bonus. So you really wanna not just hold on to your job, you wanna get this bonus, right? Now, how do you do that? How you win is you increase the company's total enterprise value. What you'll be doing is making decisions, sharing information, collaborating with regard to selecting and managing a strategic initiative as it relates to this game. And because it's a game, a little luck won't hurt along the way. So there are some chance elements in there as well. You'll be collaborating with your colleagues throughout the game, so we expect that you'll be sharing information, your expertise, your knowledge and experience. The flow of the game is we start off with assigning roles and responsibilities. You will be operating as a team, as a company. So there is going to be one token on the board that gets moved around the board with the roll of a die. And each player has a different role. So in this handy dandy little envelope, you will pick one of these out, you can pass them out, and each person plays a role.
please.
After you identify what role you have,
What'd you get?
Sorry, CEO.
I know. Yeah, he's looking through.
What'd you get?
CFM.
Alright, I'm gonna get, conference plan? Scribe.
IT guy?
We should switch, you like the
And
SWOT
it's okay.
analysis.
okay, well, that's perfect, Billy, because you've got the tablet. So, okay, so again, I'm going back to the game flow. I interrupted with giving you that, I should have held off. But then, after you select your roles and you identify what role you're playing and what your duties are, then you're going to work as a team to select a strategic initiative. The CEO is going to present 2 ideas, 2 suggestions, and they are on, oops, yes, this, there we go. So on this form, you will read this and you'll pick, as a team, one of the strategic initiatives.
Pick one of the 2, okay.
The CEO has ultimate decision-making power. So if you don't like their recommendation, then you can
Well, it's
override
family
it.
owned and I'm
Okay.
new, I'm probably gonna pick my own.
All right,
This sounds better than this place.
so after
Only we had
the
a
CEO
that could change that.
after the CEO decides which strategic initiative you're gonna go with, and here you're gonna be sharing your expertise, your experience with these particular strategic initiatives. You might not have any, and you might have a lot. So it'll behoove you to gather your collective intelligence as to which one you recommend to the boss.
Just a quick edit, number 2, so CEO suggests 2 strategic,
Right,
I'm not suggesting 2, I'm pitching 2, right?
yeah, you're pitching.
So I would say, when I read that, I thought, okay, we're gonna have 5, I'm gonna pick 2, I'm gonna suggest 2. I don't know if anybody else felt like that.
Oh, so you're saying pitches is a better word?
Something, I pitched that
Ariel,
through
would
out
you
there.
jot that
Like,
down?
what do you think for that? CEO
How would a
suggests?
CEO do it? You know, I'm thinking of
It just felt like I would get 5 and I was suggesting 2 with a 5.
Right.
But I'm getting 2 and then we're selecting 1.
Well,
You're
the
gonna pick one out
CEO
of the 2.
suggesting 2 strategic initiatives to the
Oh,
employees.
that's literally, yeah.
To the
Something like,
employees.
yeah, because I'm not reading past
Yeah.
that.
You just need to add like 2 staff.
To the team or something.
Yeah, to-
Oh,
team.
Yeah,
okay,
something like that.
so CEO suggests or offers 2 strategic initiatives to
To
the,
the
to the
team.
team.
Communicate to,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you're giving me something to communicate. You're giving
You
me
can,
Right,
you can,
right.
I think suggest is fine, just.
Okay,
Alright,
Team.
all right, to the
there
team.
you go.
Okay, and then the team makes a recommendation, CEO decides which way to go. Once they've decided which strategic initiative, they complete a SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, you know that in this 4-hour allotment that we have this morning, you are not going to have time to actually conduct a SWOT. However, you will be able to discuss all the critical elements that would go into a SWOT. So what are the things that you would consider when you're considering the strengths of your company when it comes to, let's say, a joint venture strategic initiative? Then you'll discuss what those things are, and you're gonna list them. The scribe, who's the scribe? So,
Jenny.
so Jenny, you would write down and just, it's gonna be a brainstorming discussion type of thing, because you're going to collectively list all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So this is going to be a very important part of the game. We're gonna refer to it later on. And it's an opportunity for the group to teach one another. So there's a social element here, and there's a raising of consciousness and an advancement of professional expertise for everybody. So you share what you got, you learn as you go. After you complete the SWOT, it's time to play the game. The staff, Ariel, would you write this down, please? The staff is going to be running around and taking your SWOT and comparing it to these answer keys. For every item that you have on your SWOT that matches this answer key, you're going to get a certain percentage of additional monthly net income. It's all about the money, okay? And if you have anything on your SWOT that's not on this answer key, you're going to get additional percentage points, all right? So they have to be
Anything of
valid.
value.
Yeah.
They have to be valid.
Everybody's having the same place.
Right. Must be valid, credible
Everything?
things,
Yeah.
okay?
Just jot stuff
So
down.
we're gonna collect them, are we gonna have to tally them, or just mark on your,
Yes, you're gonna mark on here
whatever's on that paper?
what matches.
Okay.
And
How much
for
interpretation?
scoring, yes, it's subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
So,
It's gonna be
it's gonna
ballpark.
be quantity, but it's also a little bit of quality. So for example, if you have partners' behavior in the marketplace as a strength, but I have it as a weakness, it's okay, as long as you discussed it. So it doesn't matter which category it's in, as long as it's a topic that you need to consider when you're conducting a SWOT.
So partner's reputation, it's in the ballpark, right? That works.
Right.
So that's gonna be, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be comfortable with that, who's ever doing that.
And here's
Who's
where.
doing that? These two?
No, actually,
Oh, it's Pam and,
Pam.
oh, good, okay, yeah,
and
they're in the industry, which helps.
Carol and
Gotcha.
Joe.
Got it.
Oh,
I
okay,
see.
good.
Okay.
I think
And I
Okay.
might, but
We're
Okay.
just gonna
Okay.
run around and pick them up for them, is that what you said?
Right.
Right.
Ariel, would you jot down that we need to write the team number at the top of the form here? Just on everything, just so that papers
Yeah.
don't get mixed up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Once the SWOT is scored then, there's gonna be an adjustment to your financial, your monthly net income. After that SWOT is done, then we're gonna play the board game relevant to the SWOT that you picked and did the analysis, the strategic initiative that you picked and did the analysis.
Okay.
Is there some gap in time between the time you complete the swap, it gets graded, and you start the game board?
Yes, and that was on the agenda. So you'll have 5 minutes for selecting your strategic initiative, 15 minutes to fill out your SWOT form, 35 minutes to play the game on the board as it relates to that strategic initiative, and then 5 minutes to review some key learnings and share.
I'm not sure that's answering my question.
I'm sorry, go ahead then.
So my question was, you finished the SWOT analysis, and you have Pam, somebody else grading them.
Mhm.
Are you waiting to get your grade before you go on to the game, to the?
You could actually go on to the game,
Okay.
and would you make a note for that, because this is
Should be,
where we have to
like,
test
there should be like
it.
an announcement, like, okay, now move on to the game, we're scoring you behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
yeah, right,
Thank you.
kind of flow.
Okay? after or during the game, you're going to be using your tablet or an Excel spreadsheet to keep score. So throughout the game, as you play, there are gonna be different things that will cause you to have an entry to make to your balance sheet, to your financial statement. At the end of the we'll go through this, at the end of the round, we're gonna share key learnings. We're going to repeat this cycle for each round. All right, so after round 1, we will take a health break, and then after round 2, we will go right into round 3, and at that point, you're gonna be rocking and rolling, pun intended with the dice. But anyway, you'll have a little rhythm, you'll get the hang of the game, and you'll have a different strategic initiative to work on, so there's different learnings to occur for each round, all right? All right, moving along, the player roles. So each of you picked, now is the time to hand that out, each of you pick a role. The CEO is the ultimate decision maker, next generation. The accountant keeps score via the tablet, and there will be at each table a copy of the instructions for how to complete that, and we're gonna go through it in a minute, but also a visual of the whole sheet, so you can take a look at that. That'll be at the table. The accountant keeps score, the scribe completes the SWOT forms and helps capture those key learnings. The first CFM rolls the dice and moves the pieces around the board, as well as keeps time. Now, we're gonna be doing the bigger time chunks, the 15 minutes, but within the game, you might have an opportunity where you get 2 minutes to discuss something, or you have 2 minutes to list all the things you know about a strategic initiative, something like that, in which case, the CFM number 1 has to use their phone, unless you want me to buy timers, to do 2 minutes.
So I have an idea, you can do that on screen.
No, I cannot do the
No,
2-minute
because
one, because each table's gonna be at a different point in
Gotcha.
time.
That makes sense.
So that's why I said if somebody can use their phone, that'll
Yeah.
work fine. And I didn't see the need to buy a piece of.
Are we providing 10,
Yes, we are.
in this room?
And the second CFM will be drawing and reading the cards to the team. So we have, and I'll show you those cards in a minute. So everybody has a job, everybody participates in the discussion, even the CEO. So when you're talking about a strategic initiative, everybody participates, you don't wait.
Especially the scribe.
The scribe participates as well, as best that they can.
Because they're gonna have your reaction
Favorite sheet,
on
right.
scribe, and that's not, but if you say that, I think it's
Jot
great.
this down.
Go ahead.
The roles change every round. So you might be the scribe now, the next round, you might be the CEO.
You'll be answering to me, but.
You cannot play the same role twice. So each of the 3 rounds, you're gonna have a different role. And we know that you're all adults, and if you happen to be a copious note taker and you're really comfortable with the tablet, if the team says, hey, I don't, it's not, you're all adults, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to make it so that nobody's stuck doing something they don't wanna do, and everybody gets a chance, especially as the CEO, as the decision maker, because they'll get to, have the power. Okay, all right, so those are the different roles. Any comments or questions about the roles?
I would print these out on like a business card stack, which I
Yes.
have in my office.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is all
Oh,
prototype.
okay,
See
okay.
the paper and everything, yeah. Okay, so the game elements. So I already showed you the roles and responsibilities, and I had you take a look at the SWOT forms, these forms. This is the game board, and you'll be working your way around the board clockwise twice. We expect that you could go around twice for the 35 minutes that you're playing. The timer, that's your cell phone. The SWOT forms, the scorecard, I'm gonna show you more detail in a minute, and there are 3 types of cards. So each group will have a packet of cards, and they are separated by joint venture, acquire another company, push into other regions, and other works. Those are the different strategic initiatives. On the flip side, each category is unforeseen expenses, opportunity knocks, and market conditions. So those will be the cards that you play with for this round, all right? And of course, you are an integral part of the game. if you don't participate, if you don't do your job, if you're not engaging in the discussion,
You're fired.
you're fired. Well, like anything, the more you put in, the more you get out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the SWOT analysis, I already talked about that, the strengths and weaknesses, you'll complete those forms. We also have on the board, there are spots here that say, stop doing certain types of work, discuss SWOT for 2 minutes. And there's also one that says, internal process evaluation SWOT, discuss for 2 minutes. That's where your timer comes in. That's this form here. So as you play, these 2 strategic initiatives will come up. And they're gonna be different than the other ones in that you have 2 minutes to brainstorm as many strengths as you can for this particular initiative. And when the 2 minutes is up, that's it, you just put it to the side. And then when you land on that spot again, or on the other spot, flip it over, and you have 2 minutes and you work each category one at a time for 2 minutes. Now you may complete the whole sheet throughout all 3 rounds. This will carry all 3 rounds. And when you do complete this whole sheet, that you've done all 4 categories on both of the 2 initiatives, then you'll get extra bonus monthly net income. All right?
But
And
you gotta
that'll
land on
carry-
those, right?
You have to land on it in order to use this piece of the game. All right?
Does each table get their own game board then?
Yes,
Oh,
each
okay.
table's gonna have their own game board, each table's gonna have their own cards, and all of these forms. So this is one setup. So
Okay.
we're acting as one table, there'll be 10 tables doing the same exact thing, having all the same pieces. So the opportunity knocks, I mentioned the different types of cards relative to the strategic initiative. The opportunity knocks will hopefully give you an opportunity to not just get some information and some things to consider with regard to this joint venture strategic initiative, but it will give you some decision making too. And again, the ultimate decision maker is the CEO, but it might be a decision that affects money, in which case, in this case, it says, technology gains for the joint venture lead to efficiency gains within the organization. Yes. Fiscal cash flow is increased. You can reinvest your gains to fund a new computer system, but will you? If you do, then roll the dice to see whether you double your gains or if you lose them. And then there's a little chart on here that tells you how much money in which case. So you have a decision to make. Do you want to invest? Do you want to
We'll
do
talk
the
about
new
team.
computer? Exactly, so you're gonna talk as a team and figure it out. And then whatever you decide, because the ultimate decision is the CEO's, then they will decide, and if it's roll the dice, because it might say here, if you roll a 5 or 6, it's $150,000 if it's, and then the
I think Bill's
accountant.
gonna try this. Go ahead. No, say the thing.
Me?
Yeah,
Roll the
okay.
dice, see what, go ahead, roll the dice.
I'm gonna roll 1, so.
Okay, you
Oh.
rolled a 1.
That's what you mean.
So, wah, wah, wah. You get
We're
nothing.
out already, Billy, we're already out.
However, if you
Yeah,
opted, if you opted not
You're
to
fired.
reinvest, if you opted not to reinvest, because that might have been your decision, then you would have added $50,000 to your
Yeah, let's
monthly
do that.
net income. Yeah, let's do that after the roll.
Okay.
You gotta do it before the roll.
You didn't blow
Okay.
on the dice.
So
that's
those
all.
are the kinds of questions that we have, on all the cards. So it says, where they put the money, and I'm gonna show you the score sheet in a minute, that you'll know where to put these numbers.
Elizabeth, you need to elect another team member to just do the sound effects like wah, wah, wah.
Billy does not roll anymore.
Okay.
Learn about my.
So there's some chance here, there's some luck here, especially like with the unforeseen expenses. It might be your lucky day, you got an increase to revenue. It might be, you got stuck in a lawsuit and you gotta pay $150,000 worth of legal fees. So who knows?
Oh, that sounds fun.
So that's where the game part comes in. All right, so the scorecard, taking a look at that, and Billy has it on the tablet there, right, Billy? Okay, so. So based on the outcome of the activity on the game, Billy or whoever the accountant is will put that in this balance sheet. It's real simple. Each turn, there's gonna be an entry for either the revenue, expense, assets, liabilities, or income. It will automatically turn into the revenue, expenses, assets, and liabilities column, so you don't have to make any entries there. It's all done on its own, all the formulas are in there. When you get your monthly net income, you start off with a base of 750, dependent on your strategic initiative SWOT. You've got extra percentage points. So you may have doubled it, that's the max you could do. You may have done a 10% or a 50% increase to your monthly net income. There are also times,
They're not
as you
doing so
take
good.
different turns during the game, that there might be something like the one that we just read that says if you decided not to reinvest, even though you had all these technology gains from the joint venture, your monthly net income is increased by $50,000. So when that happens, you put that $50,000 in there. And then each time you go around the board and pass monthly net income, your income is increased by the 750 plus the 50 on the card.
Oh, somebody landed.
And if you land on it, you get a one-time bonus of $250,000.
Now, how do you know someone's putting in 50,000 and not 500? I mean,
It'll be in your
It's,
balance
it's,
sheet.
it's, the numbers are said directly here.
oh, okay.
You mean,
okay.
they could cheat.
That's what I mean.
Well,
They could
we
cheat.
count on, you could cheat at any game. We're counting on you're gonna play by the rules, you know?
Okay.
It's a game, you know, I mean, this isn't
When you
like
have
they're.
5 people playing with you though,
Hmm.
chances of you cheating are.
And, well,
You heard of a
honestly,
conspiracy?
you're actually playing as a team. So, I thought long and hard about this, and I just have to rely on the integrity and honesty of the people.
Well, plus they
Because-
don't know each other. Most
Well,
of
that's
them,
what I was gonna
they
say,
won't
you're
all
gonna
know
create
each
people that
other,
don't
so.
know each other.
somebody-
We hope that they are, this is a networking opportunity too. This is why we decided to have people count off, so that they are separated from the people they walked in with. So their cliques and things like that, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I
But
know.
we tend to gravitate toward people we know already.
I know, you're
Absolutely.
very
So we wanna mix it up,
Mix it up, sure.
okay?
That's a good way to divide them up.
All right, and again, when you make your entries in there, it will impact the rest of the score sheet. How to win the game? The team with the highest total enterprise value wins, and these are calculated automatically for you. All right,
So
so
it's like an Excel spreadsheet, this?
that's exactly what it is. All right, couldn't think of any better way to work with these guys.
Right.
All right, at the end of round one, you're going to, as we come around and make sure everybody's cool, you're gonna stop and share your learnings. We want each person to write down at least one thing on the easel that's at each table, and then they could take a health break. Hopefully it's something that they did not know before, or something that they feel is really important. And like I said, Joe will, facilitate, getting people through the,
They
This
gonna post the
activity.
scores at the round one, or?
the team did not, the subject matter experts did not want me to do that. I wanted to, but that's okay. We're gonna collect it. The testing, what we're doing with, the, students,
Yeah.
and maybe if we can squeeze one in with some local CFMs.
I think just
Well-
writing their own score on there would be kinda cool, right?
And that's a good idea. Let's write that down. If you would please, on the flip chart, we'll make sure that it's,
Say in red or something.
yeah, their score at the end of
So
round
you
one.
only have 3 entries, right? First, second, third round?
Right. So I wanted it to be each round have a winner, but they didn't.
What was the reasoning, just it's too competitive that way, or?
Their reasoning was, round one is going to be
Just a
a
trial.
little cumbersome, they're getting to know the game,
Nice.
that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Round two
We'll
is
see what
now
happens with
getting in
the
a
test group.
groove, and then round three is the
See what
competition.
happens with test group, ask
Yeah.
them a question.
Right, and that's something that could easily change. End of round two, you're gonna be doing the same thing, so you repeat this cycle, you're gonna pitch two more so whoever's the CEO pitches two more strategic initiatives to the team, they choose, they do the SWOT, they play the game, okay? Or it's all part of the game, actually. And then writing down what they learned. The grand finale, round three, is the team competition. So this is where we hope that you're warmed up, you're ready, you know the ins and outs of the game, you're gonna move a little faster and knowing now that these SWATs are so important because they will be referred to as you land on different cards. It might say, oh, well, if you discuss this element of negotiating change orders in your SWAT, then you get an extra $10,000 a month or something like that. So it's like, okay, did we do it? Did we discuss it? So the scribe will have to go down the list and say, yes, we did, in fact. So then the accountant puts in the extra $10,000, all right?
Are there gonna be people like you and Joe, Patty, around to answer questions from the groups?
Oh, absolutely, we are on the floor.
Pam Hepburn,
How many people do you
Carol.
have?
There will be 5 of us altogether, Joe, Carol, Pam, Liz, and myself. So then the grand finale. Then while we're tallying up the scores, people are sharing what they learned. Now we're doing big group. Joe's up at the front and he's facilitating a discussion from every table. You know, what did you learn? What stood out for you? What's worth sharing with your colleagues, kind of thing. Most importantly is that second question is, how are you gonna apply what you learned today back at the job? How is this gonna impact your decision making? So our intention is that it does, you know, lighten their, you know, light bulbs. It does, you know, give them something to think about that they might not have thought about before with regard to strategic initiatives.
When is this event?
When is this?
Yeah.
Saturday morning. Now, that was the end, so while you guys are doing your key learnings and writing on the easel and talking to each other and as a large group, then Liz and Pam and Carol and I are running around getting all the scores, and we're gonna fill it in here. So now we're getting, what was your total enterprise value? And the top 3 winners will then get their gift certificate for the free class and their buttons and
So is everybody from the team a winner? So that's
the whole team is a winner.
5 benchmarkers, 5,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Which is why we graded them,
Mm-hmm.
because I was really generous, wasn't I, Brian? Brian reined me in.
you were, but I think we're at a good balance now.
Complicated gift cards.
There you go, there you go.
Well, I thought it's an educational game, so
Yeah.
giving them something, like an online course, is something
I
that
appreciate it.
doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
And, you know, it reinforces learning
Right.
and development.
This will die
And
too.
the other things are products that are ours, that we have anyway, so I think it's a win-win. And of course, we're gonna give them buttons that say, you know, first prize, whatever, champion, whatever. Okay? Then, at this point, what I would be doing is asking everybody, you know, after the winners, then it's a lot of hurrah, 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 and I hope a whole lot of high fives and knuckle bumps and all that kind of stuff.
We are the champions.
And then, as we were collecting the scores, we were handing out the overall evaluation of the game flow. And actually, I don't mind you guys looking at this, I was gonna give you this anyway, Brian, because if you pass those. Sure. I would love to, just based on this session, anything you had to think about with regard to the flow and the clarity, there's extras. So if you have any thoughts about how we could improve it before I send it to John tonight, that would be very helpful.
Well,
So-
can we go to the very first slide?
We sure could. There's probably an easier way to do that, right? Not that one?
Nope, not that one.
So not the very first.
Bingo. I'm concerned. Okay, so you have 30 minutes in the front end. Well, welcome, introduction, and agenda,
Mhm.
and present what you just did, present game elements and instructions.
Mhm.
I'm concerned you might not have enough time to
So,
get everything in. I mean,
we
it's
didn't time
It's
this,
2:38.
it's
So
2:38.
we started a couple
Oh,
minutes.
but I found, look,
Well, we had
Yeah.
discussion.
your SWAT for your SWAT for under round 1,
Yes,
15 minutes.
Yes.
It's not really, but the game board, you said they can start playing game boards, so that isn't really 35 minutes, it's like 35 minutes plus like another 10.
well,
If
they're
you add all
gonna
that up,
need
that's an
the,
hour.
right,
So, but that's saying that for 15 minutes, they're just sitting there.
no, they're never
No,
just sitting
taking
there.
them 15
They're
minutes to do
playing,
the swap.
once they finish the SWAT, so this is the SWAT that
Oh,
they
I'm
have to
thinking
complete.
you're grading it, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
right, yeah, there's.
So you'll be
there's-
grading it during that 35
board
minutes.
time, the
Okay,
break.
Right, while
Alright.
they start rolling the die,
All
then
right.
we're grading it.
I got it.
So there's gonna be a little overlap in
Okay.
that if they get they're gonna pass the monthly net income right away. So we've gotta be ready to adjust for that. So, actually, Ariel,
But if
would you
they
make a
land-
note, would you make a note as to the adjustment to the monthly net income is gonna come from from the SWAT,
What if they land on,
and it comes too soon?
I was gonna say, what if they land on it before you're done grading?
Right, that's the point. So we gotta figure that out. It could be that, well, then we just go back and add the money in and, you know, they're accountants. That'd be easier for them to do than for
Just
me.
mark it?
Yeah,
We need to,
right.
okay.
They
So
just-
my question is
There will
30
be pen
minutes,
and paper, I'm sorry.
is 30 minutes enough at the front end?
I'm glad that you're questioning that because they wanted to cut that time out and I said no. And they thought we could do it in 10 minutes and I was like,
Ooh.
you know the game,
Right,
Mm-hmm.
they don't.
right,
So I am keeping it to this whole half hour.
okay.
And with the questions that came up already,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm
You
expecting,
might get a couple for the audience.
we might get a couple. But then again, they're more likely to just listen through the whole thing. Because we're in this intimate setting.
And I could lean on another team member and say, well, what do they get, what do they do?
Right.
Or something. The
And
only comment
it's
I-
not rocket science, it's a game, so.
I thought the instructions were delivered very well. When I got to this point, and what you showed on screen, this is very intimidating, just visually compared to what you showed on screen. I was like, wow, yeah, it seems like entering the score was easier there than it is here. This seems like a lot. Like, whoa, look at all I gotta do.
Oh, because of the
No,
text?
I don't have that yet. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I didn't give one to everybody, because there's
If
gonna
I
be
was
one
the-
per
the-
table.
The scorekeeper or the treasurer, whatever you call it. If I was that, I'd be like, whoa, that's a lot there. But
Yeah, but we're not accountants either.
that's true.
You know,
True.
you're.
We'll
And-
see
and
if you get
playing
feedback
this,
on
so
that.
This is not new
Okay.
stuff to them.
That's a good point. But I
And-
mean,
They do this on a daily.
sure, but it's to me.
There's a lot of text
I
down
wanna
there,
participate
because
and have fun,
there's,
yeah.
there are rules. So let me tell you one of the rules, and I didn't go through that sheet. Would you, actually, it needs to be in here, to make sure that we review the scorecard.
That was done well. I like looking at it on screen and saying, yeah, I get it. I'm putting revenue and expenses, there's my table.
Yeah, but this is gonna answer all the questions.
Yeah,
But
you need
the-
something
the
like
I
that,
don't think
but
it's too intense.
The truth is,
Mhm.
just that top thing that says turn results, that's the only thing you need to worry about. And then this second one, the monthly net income.
Mhm.
So entering in each adjustment to your monthly net income. And then when you pass it, and you make the entry. But we need to clarify that for monthly net income for the scorecard. And there is a rule that says if the accountant wasn't up on their toes and everybody was aware, because you're gonna land here, now we gotta have this discussion, well, you passed the monthly net income, you need to collect your monthly net income. If we take care of this stop doing work thing and we work on this other SWAT, and we forget to put in our $750,000 monthly net income, and you roll the dice again to move to that, oh, we forgot, no, you roll the die, you forfeit.
now you said that, you
monthly net
get
income.
monthly net income if you pass this,
If you pass it. So there are 6 monthly net
but
incomes.
if you land there,
You
you
go
get a
around-
different amount, right?
Yeah, it's 750 plus 250, but that's only one time. This chart here is for adjustments that will carry throughout the game. So, for example, when you get a card that says you did so well with your joint venture, that your income, your monthly net income is now increased by $10,000, you put the $10,000 in here, and then that number will switch to 850, and then,
That seems like it would work, yeah.
and then it flows through
Maybe
all
on the
the other
board, I know
numbers.
you made the boards already, right? They're all done? Or not?
Well,
No,
they're not done
Oh,
yet.
because I mean, maybe on here you put the fact if you pass here, you get to 750, right?
Well-
Cause is it indicated on the board anymore?
No, but
No.
it's something
Okay.
that I should have covered here then.
Yeah, I heard it, don't get me wrong, I heard it.
Yeah, I wasn't
It's
reading.
just I look at here and go, you land here, you get 250, but if you pass, you get 750, okay.
Oh, I see what you mean,
Yeah.
right.
You use that on the board, like Monopoly's got that on there, right? If you pass go, you get $250. Maybe you can put it on the outside if you wanted to, I don't know, or here. That way you don't have to explain it, but it's still visual too, right? If you go around once, you pass here, or you pass here. Like where do you get the 750?
As soon as you pass it, so
Pass this.
you roll the die, and you don't get anything, you get
As
a
soon as you
marker
pass
card.
this, right?
So, yeah, so you roll the
Yeah,
die
so-
and you have a 3, and it's 1, 2, 3, so now this is a perfect example, oh, we stopped doing work. somebody at this table needs to say, whoa, wait a minute, before we do that, let's get our monthly net income
You
recorded.
need it, okay.
Because if we take care of this, we got 2 minutes worth of discussion, we fill out this form,
And you forget to
and you
add it.
forget to get it, and then somebody rolls the die.
Yeah, I think putting that on there, cause I don't see it on the board like you get down
Okay.
for,
So, say that again, you wanna,
so you said you pass this, you get 750, and there's no indication on the board that happens. This is just if you land here, you get 250, right? But if you pass it, you get 750? This is just this one or this one?
right,
I mean, if that.
no, they're all the same,
Okay.
they're all the same,
So every time you pass
So
it.
every time you pass monthly net income,
it's
so I
just-
need to put
just
a thing in here
Oh, and
on,
then is it
on the
750 plus
spaces.
250?
If you land on it's 250, then you get
It's a
750 as
bonus.
well, yeah.
It's a
seven-
bonus,
yeah.
so you get
Yeah,
750
just-
plus the 250.
Everything else
Right.
is really clear in the
Are
board.
we talking about 750,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. Everything's in thousands,
That's, it's
So-
on that, like, the thing.
so that's good.
Everything else
And-
is clear, that part I think can just be.
Well, I think what
a-
I'll also do is, as I go, as I present this part again and I fix this presentation, I will explain what these are. So you land on the hand, you pick up, the Opportunity Knox one. So after I go to,
Yeah, that's a
this,
little
this
bit.
board, I could make them aware of these specific, spots,
But
cause there are.
they're
three
visuals,
slices.
people get that, I think.
Right,
People
right.
kinda get that.
Yeah, those don't need to be.
Because they're gonna relate to
explained.
the board games they know, like
But-
Monopoly, you know?
But the monthly net income, the stop doing work and internal process and audit, those 4 spaces, if you would make a note, please, Ariel, thank you.
Oh, say it
That
again.
4 spaces that need to be covered in the presentation. Monthly net income, The
Maybe you
swaps
should just say
and
land
the audit.
on here.
Well, these are
it
self,
says land here, get one-time bonus 250, but I did not tell you that every time you pass it,
that's it.
Well,
You
that's gonna
get the
say, pass
750.
this,
That should be under,
750, land on this.
Yeah,
what's
that should be
it's
on there.
750 plus 250.
Yeah.
So,
if you just put that on here, I think it helps immensely, just putting that one piece, because the rest is very clear. I mean, this is very clear, these relate and look the same, and it's just that pass go, because Monopoly's got, if you pass go, you get
Pass.
$200,
Right.
right? So you see that, okay, I pass go, get $200.
pass,
Yeah. But I think verbally, they might forget that. They might, don't forget it, it's not from
you need to put it,
I don't know,
I
they're
don't know if it
accountants
says additional.
and it's money, I don't
I'm
know.
with you,
I think they'll learn real quick.
I see the conferences, they get distracted, they talk to people, and they, oh yeah, we're just playing.
Back up really quick, for the SWOT, grading, how long does it take for you to grade one?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
I mean, it should be a simple, we're comparing, I think the challenge will be handwriting. And
Yeah.
here's
Well,
the
that's,
truth of
my
it.
question is,
is-
should you just have the tables grade each other's randomly?
I like that idea.
That way it's done quickly and they have it right away, and it's not cheating because you're grading somebody else.
Someone else.
Yeah, but that would take time up.
Well, that's why I was asking if it's gonna take 2
Yeah.
minutes per, because 2 minutes times 10, that's 20 minutes for you guys, or is it gonna take 5 minutes, or?
There was some concern that it would, okay, so if you're you're taking mine and I'm taking yours, oh, you took joint ventures, I took push other work, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now I'm reading your stuff, when I come to that, now,
I get it,
answer.
I get it.
I think it lends to
Because
some more
Ron-
thought though.
I get it.
But I think that's a good point, if you would jot down, we have to be concerned about
It lends to
the time to score these.
It's handwriting
Yes.
too.
I wanted to give them the answer key and they
Have
said
them.
no. The subject matter experts said no. The doing different tables, that,
It's interesting
see,
thought.
it's,
The handwriting I'm concerned about, I think that's a good.
and that's where we get subjective again. It looks like they're saying capacity, okay, capacity.
The
that's
Stuart and I
fine.
can't read each other's handwriting. It's true, right?
Couldn't be that,
It's like,
okay,
this is the
Can you
worst.
read your
What? It's not good.
Worst.
I don't know.
So that's a
They're both
good
bad,
question,
they're both
and I
either way.
think John's test will help with that, and then,
Yeah, so you got things to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Test groups.
but the thing I'd like to,
So when you guys when you do your explanation,
mhm,
why don't you tell people, just whoever writes the best,
Yeah.
we're reading it.
yeah, to
If
be
you want-
legible.
To be legible, so that we can, if we can't read it, you're not gonna get points, so make sure it's legible.
Okay, all right
Make
then.
sure Stuart doesn't write it, O'Brien.
And That's fine, that's, you know, this, like I said, we're all adults, you know, that's,
I would just, yeah, stress the,
That's a good point.
yeah. Any other,
Can't read it, you get a 0. Move on to the next
Ooh,
one.
We
teacher
can't read
classes.
we
If you have a
can't,
teacher in
if
past
we
life-
can't read it, we can't assess it, we can't assess it, you don't get points,
okay,
right?
so again, then we
Then you play.
celebrate, I catch them on the way out, hopefully that they'll give us some of this information. What other?
If they don't, email it to them when you're done, because you have everybody's email address.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with their CPE credits or anything like that.
Is this
So,
actually gonna be a physical board? I think
Yeah.
this is just.
yes,
We're having
Which table?
GES make them.
I
Really?
having
Yeah.
second thoughts, I really don't think the phone board works because
We
it's,
can have them do a roll up if you want.
yeah, even poster board would be
Softball.
better, just because
Sure.
the phone board is really paper glued to the phone board and it stands up a little higher, so as they hit the edges, the paper's gonna be ripping, and if we hope to use them again,
We can send them to Michelle, I'll send it to Michelle and ask her what
what
she
would be
recommends.
best? Okay, great.
There's also a mega print.
Okay,
There's a
well, we'll
company
take
that
this
we
offline.
Yeah,
'cause
mega
I-
print's
Yeah.
great.
I got
What
it.
other questions or comments?
Just that, congratulations, it's well thought out,
I think so.
it's impressive, definitely puts us at a great level at this now, there's only a couple tweaks, so congratulations to both of you, you did a lot of work on this,
Interesting,
so.
interesting.
It's very
It'd be
cool.
really, it would be
Thank
really
you.
interesting to
This is
see the
really,
after effects, the comments that you get from people.